Well, there's nothing like waking from a deep sleep to hear your child tell you their bed is wet. It's a sudden scramble to find sheets and calm the upset child.
A lot of kids have accidents, but for some, bedwetting can be a real problem. Joining us now is Dr. Steve Hodges, the author of It's No Accident. It's No Accident. Dr. Hodges, thank you so much for being here. How common is bedwetting?
It's very common. It's about half of 3-year-olds, about 20% of 5-year-olds. Only gets better about 5–10% a year, so it can extend into the teen years.
So what are the causes? What causes this bedwetting?
Well-defined 3 main causes: overactive bladder, production of too much urine at night, and too deep sleep. But I think by far the overactive bladder is where the bang for the buck in terms of therapy lies.
Okay.
What are some of the biggest mistakes that parents make in dealing with this problem? I have heard all kinds of things. All you have to do is Google bedwetting. You'll get all kinds of responses from parents. You think a lot of parents aren't handling it correctly.
Yeah, there's a lot of misinformation, unfortunately. I think there's 3 main mistakes they make. One is that they ignore it, because a lot of doctors say don't even worry about it, and it can extend. Kids have 10-year-old kids coming in the office still wetting the bed. You can treat it very early. 2 is punishing a child. Obviously, it's never their fault. They're unconscious when they're having the accident, so there's no reason to punish a child. Does not help.
Don't punish them. It won't make a difference, right?
And then one thing is, parents are always like, well, I'll get up 3 or 4 times a night to wake them up, and that is not reliably effective, and they just wear themselves out. So there's other ways you can do it, but that does not work.
Well, so what does work? What is the solution then to parents who are out there dealing with this with their kids? What can they do?
The best thing you can do is make sure the child's not constipated, and when I say constipated, I mean doesn't have an accumulation of stool in their colon. Sounds crazy, but if I had a child that was wetting the bed, I would go straight to the doctor and get an x-ray. I would ask the doctor how much stool is in the rectum. The rectum is the end of the colon. Should only have about 2 centimeters of stool at all, and most of the kids I see have 5, 6, 12 centimeters dilation.
Kids who have bedwetting problems, you see them with too much stool.
Exactly.
Okay.
The number 1 cause, and we mentioned the research in the book. Secondly, they may sleep too deeply. You can buy an alarm that actually goes off when they wet, so you're only getting up when they wet. It seems like it shouldn't work because it's after they wet, but it's very effective, much more than waking them up randomly.
Okay. It's interesting that you mentioned the constipation, because I don't think most people would make that correlation. If their child is wetting the bed at night, I don't know that constipation is even something that would come into mind.
And I'm having a big problem convincing parents, because most of these kids have irregular bowel movements. It's very confusing. That's why you need the x-ray, and you need someone that knows what they're doing looking at the x-ray, because radiologists don't tend to comment on the amount of stool.
Okay.
So would diet come into play here?
Early on it can. There's obviously we devote a chapter in the book to good diet. You want to have high fiber, but also retention. Little kids, they usually learn to use the potty to void very early, but going to number 2 is very difficult. And actually had a mom send me a book she wrote, because it's very difficult early on to get children to go on the potty. Everyone's had that. I've had that with myself as well.
Can you hold that up again? Do you mind?
Sure.
We've got a shot of it.
Sorry.
Just leave it right there. That's okay. So this is a book that you recommend for little kids when they're learning to go number 2 on the potty.
Because what happens is these problems start very early. They're retaining, it builds up, and you don't see the problems till much later because it's built up. And that's why it kind of fools parents, because they never notice the issue at that time.
Let me see that book again real quick. It's called I Can't, I Won't, No Way. I Can't, I Won't, No Way can be a useful tool. Also, Dr. Hodges' book called It's No Accident. It's No Accident. You can get this on Amazon. It's really got a lot of good information in there. Dr. Steve Hodges, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks.